My guest today is the person most creators don't think about until it's too late. Shalen Patel is a CPA out of Austin, Texas, and the founder of J&S Accounting Solutions, where he's built something pretty rare, a firm designed entirely around creators, athletes, and wellness founders. The people making money in the ways the tax code was never written for, and my personal accountant that I'm so fortunate to work with. Shalen is an ex-athlete, still training and doing all of that as well, who treats financial discipline the way he treats training. His whole philosophy is basically sweat your workouts, not your taxes. While most accountants are doing returns for dentists and dry cleaners, he went the other direction and bet his entire business on the content economy. So today we're getting into the stuff that nobody teaches creators when your content starts to take off. What to do the second you start making real money, write-ups that are real and the ones that get you flagged, when an LLC should become an S-Corp, and the most expensive mistakes he's watched creators make. If you've ever gotten a tax bill that made your stomach drop, this one's for you. Shalen, welcome to the Content Economy Podcast.
Yeah, thank you for that intro, man. I gotta hire you to come out to give me more intros out to people out there, man.
Dude, you're one of my favorite people I've ever worked with, and we've only worked together I think like 3 years or something like that. But I remember when we met, I had just made like my first 15K month with social media, which, you know, for some of your clients, it's literally nothing. But for me at the time, it was great. And I got to do social media full time. And I wanted to move into an apartment in Tampa. And they said, you know, you need to have a W-2 or a signed letter from a CPA. I was like, I don't have a CPA, like, you know. And somehow I got connected to you. I don't know if it was Lucas or who.
I forgot it was, or if it was the guys from Spruce Street. Was it from them?
It might have been Spruce Street.
Yeah, I think so. I think from Spruce Street we got introduced.
I totally forgot about that.
Yeah, I think it was from there, and I think you reached out, and it was great to see you. I was like, oh, like I think you were like one of my first clients too, man. So it's cool to like see your growth as well too, that you came out and, you know, trusted me. I think it was cool to see that your eyes light up when you got that brand deal and you know, run with it, and also be able to help you out. It was a pleasure for me to like help you out in that situation. Yeah,
you're absolute stud. You know, one of the things that we do, we have the Content Economy creator community, and every creator that joins, I say, listen, you're going to get to a point where you're doing 5 to 10K a month. You need to talk to Shalen, Jacob, you know, whoever's available, you know, for you guys. And so a lot of creators have done that, and they save a lot of money on taxes and stuff. So I'd love to get into that today. But before we do, I want to give you a little gift. This is new, something that I'm starting off with. With you.
Wow, I get a gift. I get a killer intro, and I get a gift on the podcast. I think I need all podcasts need to be like this.
You just need a gift, you know. Like, you are one of my favorite people. There's been times where, you know, I'm a creator, but I do see myself more as an entrepreneur, and I think that will become really evident in the next couple of years with what we're working on. But there's been times where, because of that, I don't treat finances like a lot of creators do. And I've been stressed, and I've called you, and you've been like, it's okay. You know what I mean? Like, hard times are coming. This is part of it.
Yeah.
Take a deep breath, trust God, you know, and it's been very centering for me, you know. So I just appreciate it. And I wanted to get you this. Now, this is, I didn't know your sizing and stuff, so I figured this is probably the safest little workaround for you. But,
okay, Lulu, some Lulu. Oh, I can't go wrong with this, man. You can't go wrong with Lulu, man.
I know you wear probably some Haas stuff.
Oh, dude, this is still great, man. It's all tough, dude. I appreciate this, man. Thank you so much, man.
So maybe for you or your wife, you know, whoever.
I'll probably give it to Dana. Dana's like and it's funny, like, living with Dana, and this is something that I realized, like, I have more clothes than Dana, and like I'm like basically learning now, like, okay, I need to, like, I've always, cause like, oh, there's some cool training shorts I can use. I'm like, I already got like 4 or 5 so I'm like, but Dana's like so like precise on like what she gets and stuff. I'm like, the fact that she can have 3 or 4 outfits and just be good, I'm like, man, I gotta get on that level, man.
You know, we've seen a lot of people start to go a little bit more minimalist with clothing or their decisions. Brian Del Mata, for instance, you know, another one, your client, good friend of mine. Brian, he kind of influenced me. He started, you know, traveling a lot, living out of a suitcase, and he got rid of a lot of possessions he had. I have done the same thing since October. I don't have a place right now. I'm just living out of a suitcase, and it really makes you prioritize what. I mean, before you used to just go to the store, buy stuff, put it in your closet, wear like a couple times a year or something, and it's a huge waste. I personally like not having a ton of stuff.
I like it too, because also keeps you from stressing out what to wear each day. Because if you have so many clothes, and also in the what I figure out is like you remember when you have like so many clothes, you're like, and you have a hard time letting go. You're like, oh, I'm gonna wear that one time, but you're really not gonna wear that again. Like, so I'm just like, let's just rip the band-aid off and like give it away,
Yeah,
and just donate it and just keep what you have, right? And so that's seeing my wife like kind of like have barely a clothing like that much of like a wardrobe. I'm like, I've been like doing the same, man, and it's refreshing, man, because I'm just like, at the end of the day, it's like for me personally, it's like I this goes back into faith. Is like I don't think an outfit's gonna like really affect someone that I meet. God's gonna already lead me to the people I'm gonna meet anyways,
So
right?
true.
So for me, I'm just like, what I'm over here stressing about like this designer, this like, yeah, it's cool to have those type of things, but it's like those are the least of my worries to worry about when I'm like meeting someone new.
I know personally you've had quite the journey. I would love to hear about your story and how you got to where you are today.
Oh man, so for me, I grew up an only child, man. So only child, come from a South Asian family, man. So it's like hard work and like profession is like really instilled with you at a young age. It's like be a doctor, be an accountant, or be something like a lawyer or something. Mainly doctor. And to be honest, like go to every single Brown and Patel you see out there. It's always like be a doctor. And so for me is that I grew up in Houston, Texas for about 18 years of my life, and then around 2009 my parents moved to Florida. They found a really good community, a South Asian community. There's a really big South Asian community and in Florida around the Tampa area. And so we moved out there and I went to USF, got my undergrad there, and then I ended up not going to med school because I was like, you know what, and I had to stand. I was like telling my parents like, look, this isn't for me. I'm gonna go to business because my parents did own a business as well too, and I'm just like, you know what? Let me just like find something that's gonna be really keep me safe as well as like add value in areas. And I was like, well, what can a business not function without? And it's accounting because it is the language of business. Like you gotta have accounting and everything. Like you're running a business. Like how much profit and loss do we have? Like how much debt do we owe? Like you're gonna need accounting for that. So I was like, it's a pretty safe bet. So I took that and like ran with it. I ended up getting a job at PwC, and I ended up getting my CPA my first year at PwC, which I don't recommend. If you got the opportunity to get your CPA during your master's, do that. Don't do it while you're working because it was so hard, man. And then I just kind of bounced around in the corporate world, mainly because I kind of knew I was going to be an entrepreneur because I really didn't like a sense of like being told what to do. In a sense, I'm always like one of those dudes because I was just like, I just can't be siloed somewhere. It just wasn't on me. So I just jumped around. But what happened when I did that is that I brought dirty habits of the corporate world into my lifestyle. When I would have to say alcoholism really digged in deeper. I knew I was an alcoholic. I knew I had a drinking problem. Let's just say that because I was like drinking to the point where I was taking shots of Jameson before I was going to work, and I was like, all right, man, this is rough enough so I can be social and stuff like that. And it just progressed, especially after COVID. It just progressed more and more and more. And even whenever I took the leap of faith, and I think the end of 2021, 2022, when I'm like, all right, I'm going to be an entrepreneur, it was still there. I was still drinking like so much, man. Like it's like a founder. Like I told you, like, because I'm a founder of a business trying to get money too. And now I'm like running my own CPA firm, and my CPA firm that I first started off, I had like before JNS, I actually did take a stab at becoming like a founder and stuff. And I catered towards like crypto dudes, like crypto, because crypto was booming.
Especially in Florida.
Yeah, exactly. So everybody's like, yo, we need a crypto accountant. And I did that, but I realized like, even those events and stuff I went with those guys to just be drinking heavily. And I'm just like, man. And it dug deep into my family and my first marriage to the point where my wife left me, man. And like, I still was drinking more and more. And while trying to run a business and build a business, man. And I went to an event for Devin Levesque. I reached out to Devin Levesque, I think towards the end of 2022 to be, because I just saw what he was doing. He beer crawled a marathon. He did all these things. And I'm like, man, this guy has it together. He's fit. He's an entrepreneur. And I'm over here overweight, still drinking. My wife is like 1 foot out the door, right? We hadn't get divorced yet. So I went to a weekend event, one of the events that he hosted. And then after that event, I came back and my wife was like, everything went loose, basically. She's just like out the door, everything like that. But I went back to remember that moment of how much fun I had over there. I'm just like, you know what? Like, I'm gonna change, man. I'm gonna change in a way where I'm gonna leave Florida and move to Austin, Texas. And when I come to Austin, Texas, I'm gonna focus on the health and wellness space and building an accounting firm. And I did that because I just saw like all the people that were at that event for Devin Levesque, right? Like, surprisingly, that's where I met my best friend Jacob too. It's crazy. Like, he worked for Devin Levesque.
You met him at that event?
He was. I believe it or not, I sent over like water. So I invested in this company called Ape Water for crypto, and I sent all this water to that event because I was like, you know what, it'd be cool to have all this water there. You know, good promotion and everything. And whenever I called them, it was Jacob that picked up. So it was wild, right? It was like, and we just had
so funny.
Yeah, it's wild. We had a conversation and stuff, and I went there to the event. I saw him, met him, and everything like that. It was great, and I got great energy. And I even called him too before. I was like, hey man, I'm like, you know, I'm thinking about just moving to Austin. So he's like, do it, man. You should, right? And so, but I moved to Austin, and turns out I ended up digging myself into a bigger hole. Let's just say that.
What kind of hole was it? Like financially?
Financial, man.
Yeah.
And financial hole, what I mean is that I thought that my alcoholism, like, you know what? A fresh start is what I need, right? A fresh start is what I definitely need. I'm going to go all out on this like health and wellness thing, but turns out I ended up going backwards more than forwards. And I mean that is because I ended up drinking more. And I say that because I didn't have any family around. I'm an only child. So like my parents are back in Florida. I'm here in the city, barely still trying to get to know people, right? And hanging out with the wrong crowds, man. I put myself in $160,000 of credit card debt. And I didn't tell a lot of people about that, man, because I was spending on alcohol, stimulants, strippers, bro. I'm going to be honest here. And during this time, I'm still working with clients and still trying to like build this health and wellness, like, accounting firm that I like had in my mind, right? But at the end of the day, it wasn't getting any traction because people weren't going to take me serious. Why? Because I was out of shape, I was drinking. I would put up a front when I would try to go to like these like run clubs and stuff like that. Yeah, I'm trying to start this thing and stuff like that. But like no one would take me really serious because they could just, you can call a spade, right? Like you see someone just like, oh, you said you're running a health and wellness thing, but you're kind of out of shape and stuff like that. And it was true. Like I dug in a bigger hole of alcoholism, Owen, and it wasn't until the end of 2023, so like almost close to 6 or 7 months, where I'm just like, I sat down in like my bed, and I almost like off my life. And I don't think I told a lot of people this. I almost off my life because it just got so bad, man. I was just battling demons in my head, and I was like, I remember it was December 17th. It's like close to 10 p.m. And I was like hammered. And I was like, you know what? Like, I'm on the 6th floor of my building. Like, I can go around. I was about to jump, man. And just like, I see my dog, Manala. I have a tattoo over it that shows you. But I see my dog just looking at me, right? Just looking at me in a sense. I'm just like, man, I can't really just do this, right? And then that moment, for some reason, right? I just was like, all right, you know what? I'm gonna do a 72-hour fast. I don't know what it was. Like, it's like probably God in the background. Like, I did a 72-hour fast. I quit cold turkey on alcohol, and I did 75 hard too, man. And I was like, it was wild.
Did you ever do a 72-hour fast before?
No.
Okay, so that's pretty biblical to fast in that regard. You know, many times we're told to fast, you know, for different reasens. That is actually incredible that came to you, that I need to do a 72-hour fast specifically. That to me seems like God. You know?
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, I think the whole what is it, Joe Rogan or someone else, or not Joe Rogan, or Dana White was putting that out there too. So it's got traction. So I was just like, oh man, like let me just do this, right? Everybody talks about this, but I did that, and I hit up my boy Joe Fair too out of the blue. I was like, hey man, like I'm at a low point, like I'm gonna sign up for the Austin Marathon. Like I was like just going on his thing, because the hardest thing, and I'll tell everybody about alcoholism, is like getting past that first day. Getting past that first day, and I tell you, people, what was the hardest part that first day? Because you're so used to, your body has been so used to consuming large amounts of alcohol daily, that the fact that you just starve it that one day, and in your mind it's just like, oh man, like, you know, we could try again. It's the enemy. It's like, we could try again next week, or next day. It's like always playing in your mind.
Yeah.
That first day, and I always say it was the hardest day to quit alcohol. But after I got that first day under my belt, it's like you get that confidence a little bit in yourself, and you're just like, oh, I could do this, right? And then you're in it, you're fasting, you're starving yourself. And after that, man, I signed up for the Austin Marathon. I ended up just like running it in under 4 hours in February. It was wild. Like I was just in go mode, man. And I was actually now being truthfully honest and building JNS accounting solutions, right? Now it just finally came to track.
And you had alignment, which
I had alignment. So I found I'm fully aligned. So God's going to send me that way. It's like, all right, now people are going to see it, right? Like you're out there, you're working out now, you're taking it serious. I'm losing weight now, so people are noticing, like, okay, this guy's actually taking it serious. And I just like started really putting myself out there, being really social around the Austin community. It's, you know, I'm blessed that Austin has so many run clubs and so many like
it's a lot to do.
Fitness people out there. There's always something to do. So I like was actually going out there, and actually I wasn't getting fogged or putting a mask on of like I would when I would be drinking alcohol. Like I was having authentic like conversations with people. And then fast forward to like June, I just started seeing a huge growth. I ended up partnering with an amazing financial advisor. Her name is Zoe. And I always tell her till this day, she's pretty known in the creative space. It's like, you helped like jumpstart my business, because she's like, oh, you like, because we worked with some like backstory. So I ended up
Zoe Hirsch.
Zoe Hirsch. I want a backstory because there's a story. There's a reason how I got introduced to her. But I got traction, and then I was like, you know what, man, I'm going to just like continue to do what I do. And then this is why I want to tell people too. It's like, never stop shooting your shot on DMs. So I ended up shooting a DM to Ian Bonville, right? Fonz, like, so, and
so Fonz,
right? Fonz, right? And I was like, he was well known. He's getting a lot of traction, like, and back in, I think, early of 2024, he started to just really get a lot of traction. And he was here, he moved to Austin, and this is like when the whole raw dog thing stuff about to come to light. And I was like, man, hey man, I'm a health and wellness like CPA. I cater towards like people, creators in the space, and like, I would love to be your CPA if you like, you know, don't have one already on this. Like I did a whole spiel to him, and he's like, and I think like less than 24 hours, like, bet bro, like I'm actually looking for a CPA. So and for me, I'm like, oh, whoa. It's like, for me, I'm just like trying to play it cool and stuff like that. He doesn't know. It's like, I'm like so excited in my mind. I'm like, all right, yo, let's meet up at Collective or something like that. Right. And then like, he ended up coming on to me and coming to me. And then like, he had Zoe as his financial advisor, right? And so I got linked up with her through him. And then being linked up with her and having Fonz, it just skyrocketed. It's just started taking off, man. And
side note, if you are running a business, you need to have a case study, good clients like that. If you do, business goes well.
Yeah, man. Exactly, dude. It's like, it took a lot of trial and error, man. I'm telling people, this is my third business before, like, honestly, like, before I got traction. I had a lot of trial and error, but I kind of honed in on, like, what I could probably attack, man. And I got blessed from the grace of God, and I, like, being able to build that relationship with Fonz and Zoe, it just skyrocketed, man. I started getting like 4 to 5 sales calls a week, and it's wild. I'm like doing sales and trying to fulfill. And then that's where it came to the point where around like September or August in 2024, I hit up Jacob. Yeah, I hit up Jacob, and I was like, look, man, we went to Frestas. I was like, hey dude, like, there isn't a lot of people that I know I can really trust in this moment right now because like, you know, I'm trying to build this out and like I've always seen Jacob work hard, man. Like he's probably the hardest worker I still know to this day, man. The kid's got grit. Even when he was at that event at Devin Levesque's ranch, just always on it, man. He's just like, hey, when they're like, Jacob, we need this, does it. I'm just like, man, like he absorbs like a sponge, man. And so I had a good meeting with him and I'm like, hey, dude, like I need someone like I could really use someone that can like come in and really do, you know, some great work. And like, I know you don't know anything about accounting. He doesn't know anything about accounting, but I know you know how to work hard and I know you're willing to learn. Right. And I also told him like, I know Jacob was in a spot where he wanted to build a business. I'm like, bro, like you come work here, dude, you'll learn how to build a business because you'll know, like, I'll teach you accounting. I'll teach you everything you need to know so that you can go out and go build your business. And he came on, man. And like, it just took off more. I'm like, we went through a lot of trials and tribulations along the way, man, like ups and downs of JNS, bro. But I can single-handedly say that Jacob, Zoe, and like Fonz were like a huge part of the success of like JNS, like to this day.
Yeah, I also have great stories with those people. I don't know Fonz, but Zoe and Jacob, incredible people to work with. You know, CJ Weber is like my co-founder, my partner in different things. We met together through you. First ever agency client that I had managing creators. I was post breakup. I had, you know, my brand deals pulled from me. I had just moved into an apartment that was like, you know, $3,400 a month or something. And I was like, I don't want to do content right now. And my brand deals just got pulled. I'm going to have to figure something out really quick. Yeah. So that was one of those times where I called you and I was like, help, you know?
Yeah.
And you're like, do you know Ross and Honey Plus? And I was like, no. And I looked them up and they had an incredible product. And you introed me to them and I ended up managing creators for them. And the creators we had were insane. It was like Giuliano Martello, Colin Reich, Reese Schnell. I think we had maybe one or two other guys. So like 5 creators. And it was $2,500 a month is what they gave me because they were very early stage college guys. And so I took the $2,500 and was going to pay out $500 to each creator, but they ran out of product like 2 weeks in. And so I had paid out like half the money to the creators and I was waiting for the other half of the invoice from Honey Plus or something. But we were all just really young trying to figure it out. But the next clients that I went to, they're like, well, who have you managed creators for? And I was like, Honey Plus. And so it was like kind of a good stepping stone to start with them. So, you know, super grateful for that.
Yeah.
How did you become a Christian?
Man, so let's talk about this. So I want to tell everybody success and like building a business, this is where I've been seeing, especially because I work with so many successful entrepreneurs and stuff, it's just like you start to grip that success. Like I told you, JNS got traction. I started making money. I got to hire Jacob. I started actually building out a team. My COO came in and everything, right? And, you know, going through tax season again, I was still making all this money, but I was getting just like burnt out and to the point where I'm like, I had a like realization in myself where I'm like, okay, like I've made a successful business, profiting almost like close to like, you know, pretty high double digits in like a month, ran like it was good, right? But I was really like, I'm not getting fulfilled. Like I used to have APs, right? And I actually sold them. I had APs, I had watches and stuff like that. And I was like, what's next, man? Do I just continue to Garmin? Hey, this watch is actually the most valuable one because this watch has been through everything with me, man. My first marathon, so I value this watch more than any other Rolex or AP out there, man.
Garmin should work with you.
Yeah, man, you know? it's the workhorse right here. But I sat down and it's one of the last days towards like the end of tax season, and I was like, man, I'm missing something, bro. Like this isn't right. It doesn't feel good, man. Like I'm just gonna continue to build this business, get more money, be on these sales calls, all these types of things. And I was like, I wasn't getting fulfilled, man. And I just randomly in my mind was just like, man, I'm just gonna go to church. And so Jacob is a Christian. So Jacob is a Christian. So Jacob's like, come to Ridge with me, man. I'm like, all right, cool. So I go to Ridge with him, and they're teaching on Revelations. Still my favorite part of the Bible. And I'm like, whoa, this is wild. And like we're getting through it. And then I just ended up being more curious about every single thing about the faith and everything. It just started digging in so much. And luckily for AI, I know people talk about it, it's like, but like AI helped me kind of like compare and contrast different religions and everything out there biblically about like how factual is the Bible, right? Like, and it's like one of the documents we have so much factual evidence on it about the resurrection. How many witnesses were able to see it? So I went through all those things.
Did you ever see Case for Christ, that movie?
I saw it with my wife, like
Yeah.
after I became a Christian though.
Yeah.
But I did my own due diligence in a way, and then I just still continued to go to church randomly by myself. It wasn't even with Jacob. I just started going because I started digging in deeper, man. Because I'm gonna be honest here. One of the things too is like growing up, I was always like curious. I'm like, why do brown people like worship these many gods, and majority of white people worship Jesus and like African American? It just wasn't making sense to me. In a sense, I was always had that kind of like curious mindset.
So, did you have a religion growing up?
Yeah, I was Hindu.
Okay.
So I was a Hindu, like, and in Hinduism, I would get into it, but then I would get just like it just wouldn't like resonate so well with me because I saw a lot of like, hey, we preach about this, like we talk about this one thing. And I saw a lot about like, ungodly chatter outside. And like my mom was a huge devotee she still is, to Hinduism and stuff, and a way of like seeing that and stuff. I just saw things that didn't really reflect something that to me felt real, and having to worship to a God, being like, hey, we need to put this in your car because God's there and everything like that. I'm just like, what? Like, you mean I have to come to like worship the statue? So it just didn't really resonate with me. And so I was just like almost like a Hindu/atheist. I was like, I'm just gonna be a good person, right? I'm just gonna try to be a good person this whole time. After like I got sober now, right? Like so like I'm like close to being like 1 year sober, right? And I'm just like, being a good person, all this stuff. But then with going to Ridge, I ended up going back more and more and putting all these pieces together. I did an audit of my whole life of like, when are the happiest moments of my life?
Such an accountant way to think.
Yeah, I did. It's the best thing is like, well, my second mom was a Christian. She was so giving and had a heart. My ex, like best friend, like because my alcoholism drove him on, he was Christian. Like and then when I moved to Austin, like the people I hung around were Christian faith people. I'm just like, man, like I've been surrounded by these Christian faith-based people like majority of my life, like little hidden hints of like love and appreciation and giving and stuff. I'm like, man, I think this Jesus guy is the truth, man. I'm gonna put my faith in him, man. And I did that, dude. And it just like the Holy Spirit kind of just came in because I made that. No one had to force that in me. Like I put the pieces together, man. And like it was the best thing I ever like I found, man. And I have, and that's the one thing I value the most now. Is like I say, everybody's like, what's the one thing you value the most? Not my marriage or anything. Like my relationship with God, man. Because it took me 34 years of my life to have a relationship with God, man. And I never want it to go away. And people ask me, would you change a thing ever in my life? No, because if I did change something, I don't think I would have the love and appreciation I have for God like I do today.
Let's end it right there. That was incredible. It's incredible testimony. I really don't even know what to say. I mean, I guess we could go into
man.
more.
I mean, and it's a cool thing, and I want to let the people know, it's like I'm the first person to be a Christian in my family. Mm-hmm. So the first one to kind of like step up and like be this way, right? And so my mom and my dad they don't really know about Jesus except that, he was a good person, right? Because people do talk about him, but they don't know a lot about him. Mm-hmm. And same thing with my cousins and my nieces and nephews. Like they're not, no one's like really of Christian faith in my family, man. So it's like, for me, I know it's like a lot of people out there too that are probably in different religions that are curious too about like making a switch or trying to just like really dig deeper into a faith that they really fully align with. And I'm here to tell you is go out there and do it. And what I mean by that is like, don't be scared in a way is that I like to use the analogy is like your blood and your flesh might belong to your family, but your spirit belongs to God. And so make sure you abide by that, man.
Mm.
And that's like one of the things that like I really give to like a recommendation to a lot of like South Asians, or as well as like any other people that are in other religions. Like make sure you like really like you own the right to pick your faith and choose wisely and pick something that's truly aligned with you and not forced.
Very good. How did you meet your wife?
So I met my wife through a homeless outreach. So this is another good story, is that I had my mom. So my mom had called me, and she was like, I think the end of 2000, towards the end of 2025. It was like August, and she was like, Shalen, when are you gonna get married again? Okay, that's the thing, right? It's a South Asian type of thing. Like South Asians we're really family oriented, right? So marriage is a big thing, right? And so I told her, and this is from my heart. I was like, look, Mom, God already gave me a chance to be married, and I broke the covenant. I wasn't a good husband. I defiled my marriage. It's all on me. I take full responsibility. So if I got to be single for the rest of my life, so be it. But I take full responsibility of the actions I do, and I'm just right now just to serve God, right? She's like, she understood. Obviously, she's probably in her mind thinking like, this guy needs to get married. But for me, I just truthfully and honestly, that's how I felt. And what happened was like, because it came from my heart, and I know God like oh, he's coming from the heart, and he's actually telling the truth on this. I had like a dream a week later, and in the dream, I'm like hanging out with a girl that has like these like emerald like eyes, like green eyes. So my wife Dayton has really green eyes, and I'm like, wake up from that dream. I'm like, bro, this is like such a great dream, and everything. I'm like happy and stuff. Like we hung out, and we're like in the dream, and so I was in this men's Bible study, and one of the dudes was like, hey, like I'm gonna go give to the homeless this weekend. Would anybody like to join me? I'm like, absolutely. Why not? I haven't done anything like that. Sign me up. So it's called Shine City. It's a homeless outreach that happens the third Saturday of every month here in Austin. And so the day of the event, I show up, and my buddy's there, and we're put into groups. And as we're getting put into groups, Dana walks in, and I'm just like, whoa, man, this girl looks so familiar. Like I kid you not. I'm like, this girl looks super familiar. And then like my eyes are just like, my spirit just kind of knew, like, just like, I'm like, and then I started putting things, yo, that's a girl of my, because her eyes, I just saw like, that was actually the girl of my dreams, right? In my mind. And then we're being put in the groups, right? I get grouped with her, and we're walking, and we're giving food out to the homeless. And I was a little shy at first, so I went ahead and I was like, hey, what's going on? What's your name? And everything like that, Dana and everything. And we started talking about like, why'd you move here? And she's like, oh, my friend told me to move here. And and started getting more deeper. And she's like, I'm sober. And I'm like, oh, I'm sober too. This is great. So the homeless outreach kind of like breaks, we get done. I wanted to go like give my number to her. And it's a Christian like service, like a homeless outreach too. So like, I wanted to give my number to her, but I was like, I'm not gonna do that. It's something that's like a godly event like that. So like the next day, we ended up adding each other on Instagram, and she ends up messaging me. She's like, how do you know CJ? So CJ Finley is my co-founder, my COO. I'm like, he's a co-founder of my business. Well, she's like, that's the friend that told me to move down here.
No way.
Yeah, so it's like, wow, this girl is a girl of my dreams, knows my co-founder. This is wild, right? And another thing is that Dana was an atheist before she became a Christian. She's a newly Christian, just like me. She became a Christian last year. So we both were like two people in the faith, right? Aligned with God, and we started dating like right away, almost like a couple weeks or so later. We started dating, and then I finally did tell her that story. I'm like, hey, I'm not gonna lie, you are legitimately the girl of my dreams. And I told that whole story, and she was just kind of like, whoa, wrote out as well too. But for us, one thing that we really wanted to do in this relationship is like, we're both in our 30s, and we didn't want to waste time, and we kind of wanted to put the rules in place right away. Like, hey, like, no sex till marriage. Like, I'm gonna keep God's commands. For me personally, it was just like, look, like I already defiled a covenant before. I'm not doing that again. And if I'm doing this, I'm gonna do this the right way, right? And she agreed as well too, man. And like we just started having such a good bond, man. And like 4 months go by, and we're like, I asked her, I was like, look, if I get married, if we would get married, like I'm not gonna do a big wedding or something. No, let's do a courthouse. I'm like, okay, well, this is music to my ears. And so I'm
Yeah,
like,
because I didn't even know that you were getting married.
yeah. So it's like courthouse marriage, and she's like, let's just do a courthouse marriage. I'm like, whoa, that's wild. Like, okay, cool. Propose, and then we get proposed in December, and then we get married February 4th, which is like 2 days or so after our my birthday, and her birthday is a couple of days before as well too. So it's like it goes her birthday, my birthday, and then our wedding anniversary. So we kind of did that on purpose. So it's like 3 celebrations.
Dude, that is such a good story. The fact too that you had potentially fallen like in the first marriage you had, to reset, you know, take ownership of your potential faults, and then, you know, renewing that covenant, doing it the right way, very hard for most men. Almost like a lot of men are not capable of having that discipline. So I think part of the reason why your relationship is so strong now is because you had to go through that negative.
Oh, absolutely.
So, I mean, maybe you could talk a little bit more about some of those. I know you said JNS, you had some also hardships and stuff.
Yeah.
Do you have any stories that stick out in particular that you had to battle through and overcome, other than the ones we'd already talked about, like maybe a specific business story or something like that?
Yeah. So I'll tell you one thing is like, this is one of the best lessons I tell to people that's starting a business is like, really stick to your mission. And I say one thing is like, not all money is good money.
100%.
You got to learn to say no. And I had a hard time doing that because I started getting the success in JNS where I'm just like taking everybody and like, you're doing real estate. Come, we can help you out. Yeah. What I realized is that kind of like really tarnished some of my relationships out, because some of these people that I did work with were my good friends too. And it's like, in a sense, I was like saying, yes, I could take them. Yes, I can take them. Yes, I could take this person. And I started getting overwhelmed with so many of these clients, right? But the thing is, I was over promising and under delivering, and I'd get chewed out on Zoom calls and stuff, like just like, yo, what am I paying you? Like, you're not like, and I'm just being brutally honest here. Like, even like full team, like CJ, Jake, they all saw me getting chewed out, and I would take it because at the end of the day, it's like I'm responsible for those things, right? But that moment and realization is like where I really shifted and honed in even first. Like, look, like I'm gonna be brutally honest to a lot of these people, straight up, and be like, look, I'm a health and wellness CPA firm. If you're looking for a real estate, like complex types thing, my boy down the street does a really good job, and like you should go there. I'd say that because it taught me to say no, even when things look really good in front of you, right? Because the more you say no to things you don't want to do, the more you get to say yes to the things you do want to do, right? And I know that when you're starting a business and you're being a founder, you're trying to just like, you know, keep things alive, but and afloat in the build stage. But I tell you, you're doing more harm than good when you're saying yes to those things. More harm than good. Because what could happen is just like tarnish your reputation, you know, losing trust in people. And for me, I'm so glad, like now to a point now of just being brutally honest with clients and stuff. It's just like been the greatest thing we've done as a firm. Like we straight up, or it was like, hey man, we're probably not a good fit for you, but so and so is down the street. And that took me
It's a hard lesson. If you don't come from money and someone, you know, is offering you money, it's
and don't get me wrong, like when you're starting this, you're gonna go through it because you do need some money, but learn to kind of have your boundaries on there. And it's the more you do that, and also people respect you when you do that. Like, look, man, I'm not a good fit, but so and so is good. And then people always like, I'm one of those dudes now too. I'm never like trying to steal people away from CPAs. I'm like, bro, like the goal should always be have a good relationship with your CPA. If your CPA is doing everything and you love that relationship, heck yeah, that's awesome, man. Like I want that, right? I'm never one of those dudes to be like, you should come work for us. Like I'm not. Like I'm never one of those. Like I know a lot of other firms and stuff might do that, but that's not the way we roll here, right? We really we want people to want to genuinely work with us, and we also want to make sure we're a right fit. Because I tell you before, like some of the people we work with, like we work out with them on a daily, right? And then we talk shop. We go to some of their like
It's a very like-minded group of clients.
Exactly. Yeah. And so we build a lifelong relationship. And like, and this goes back to the God thing, is like 15 or 20 minutes or so, like we might even like talk about business and stuff about this, but then we start talking about life. We talk about faith. Like I pray for these guys. Like that's something that like I don't ever want to be forced on when it comes to like getting a sale or something. I'm like,
the wrong clients.
Exactly. It's for me, it's like an open relationship and service. And people come like, hey man, I'm gonna go end up going to this person because like I'm growing and like I don't know if you're from, I mean, you're absolutely right. You should go to them right now. Like, you know, we did our part as we could, but like as you're growing and going to more complex things that are kind of like not our wheelhouse, they're going to be a good fit for you.
Absolutely love that. I want to get into some things that creators can do to save money, but you know, on that point that you just talked about, I'm kind of in a weird stage like that where I'm purposely turning down people because I don't want to have, you know, I'm building this platform, Artech, which is going to be the one-stop shop for apps that are trying to grow. It's going to be organic creators, paid ads. It'll all be under one roof, which hasn't been done really, at least not really well. There are obviously companies that do each of those things specifically, like Lucas and Tribe. They do paid ads very well for their brands. But in terms of organic UGC, it's a little bit different. So we're combining all of that, which is a huge time thing. So in order to prioritize that in the future, I have to purposely turn down clients now, especially clients that are not like the absolute perfect fit. If they're a perfect fit, then like, okay, I can work with you. It's good for me to make a little bit of cash so that I am not just burning through savings. So I totally understand that. What is the best way for a creator to save money?
The first way is like, what's your goal? Like, honestly, it's the biggest thing. Where do you see yourself in 4 to 5 years? Like, is this just a hobby? You're just trying to like, you know, I want to do something else. Like I'm cool with my corporate job. Like really have a serious talk with yourself. If you're really going to go all in on this, like have that honest talk with you. Don't just be like, yeah, I'm going to be a creator and I'm just going to like, you know, wing it here and there and then jump around, because you're doing yourself more harm than good when that. It's like having a truthful, like, yo, like I'm going to build this out in 4 to 5 years. Like I'm going to be all in on this. I have a set plan. You don't need to have that plan right away, but really have a firm foundation. That's it. Have a firm foundation. And when you do that, you then see, okay, I'm going to reach out to get these many brand deals. I'm going to have all these types of things. I want to get going, and maybe they're coming already. But as money starts to come in, it comes to a point where, okay, do I know how to like account for this myself? Okay, I like to say it. Can I account for the self? Do I know how to use TurboTax? Do I know how to use it? Like if you do, amen to you, right? Like you go for it, learn how to do it. You watch some YouTubes and stuff like that. It's fine. It only comes to a point where a creator really needs to come to me is when they're starting to get it over like 40 to 50, or just like don't just want to know about accounting and just like never knew anything about it, right? It's like when you start to make more money, is like you want to put things in place that you might not know. Like, okay, like the IRS is going to hit me with self-employment tax because I don't run a W-2 for my business, because I'm just getting these brand deals and I'm just transferring. I'm just living out of my personal bank account and not have a business bank account, right? It's like I should really strategize so I can save some money and not give it away. And that's why it's super important to have a good accounting foundation when you're starting something, because a lot of people tend to brush this, you know, kick this can down the road. Like I'll just worry about year end. Like I'll just keep making money, spend my money. And then you get someone like me or someone else like going through your books or trying to put together like the story that happened in, you know, the year. You get a big tax bill and you're just like, well, I don't have the money to pay for this. What do I do? Well, that's the reason why you should take this stuff serious, man. And in a way, what I mean, like, it's like having a firm foundation. Like, okay, like if I get money, like, should I have a business account now? Should I have a personal account? If you're like in the threshold of like, oh, this is just a hobby, I'm just going to just run with this for a little bit, then it's fine. But if you're going to take that full step and make a commitment, it's like, okay, I'm going to go create my LLC. I'm going to actually create a business bank account. I'm going to actually schedule a meeting with an accountant and make sure I'm set up right. And I'm also going to make sure that all my brand money, the things that's currently a hobby that's going to turn into my full thing, just goes to my business account. And I'm telling you right now, by just doing those simple things right there, you'll save yourself a big tax bill.
You've saved me a lot of money.
Exactly. It's just by putting those right tools in place, man.
Yeah.
And it all
and
comes,
systems and
exactly. And I love to use an analogy, right? It's like I told you how I ran a marathon in like 2 months after I gave up like alcohol, right? It's like it wasn't the greatest, but I got it done, right? And it's the same thing when it comes to taxes and your accounting. Is like if you have this marathon or something you're training for, right? You want to do, and then throughout the year you don't do it, and you show up for the race. Yeah, you could probably run the race, but you're probably not going to get the results you want, right? You're probably not. But if you're like signed up for it and you hire a coach that can help you coach through, like, hey man, you need to be putting 20 to 40 miles a week. This is what you need to do. Following the plan, you're going to run the race and you're probably going to get a good result, right?
You probably will get actually the result that you really want.
Exactly.
Like,
right?
not even just finish, but like literally the result you want.
Exactly, right? So like you can use that analogy in your mind, like why I need a CPA. Why? Well, like, yes, go YouTube, go do all those things, but I guarantee you your time is more valuable in honing in what you're really good at, making great video, making great content, instead of trying to figure out like what depreciation expense is,
because even if you spend a week watching videos on it, you're not going to beat an expert.
Exactly.
So
exactly.
Yeah, I've learned to kind of pass pretty much anything that's not inside my wheelhouse, and this was hard for me because building like a technology product, there's so many different components on just the product side alone, whether it's design or front end, back end, architectural design, any of that stuff. And I really wanted to be good at it because I hated the idea of being like a non-technical founder. But what I realized after like 2 months of trying to build Artec, this new version of it myself, was that the absolute best thing I could do for this product and the end goal that I really want is to go get an absolute expert in the field. I think taxes are,
exactly. Same thing when I was building JNS. Like, I was like thinking at points like I can't just be living out of my inbox and just continue to like piecemeal it together with duct tape. Things like I need to find someone that's an expert at kind of like figuring out a systems flow. That's why I hired a COO, right? My boy CJ, right? CJ Fenley, and I was like, that like usually firms don't do that. They usually just like try to like. We can hire more staff, and like just causes more problems because you don't really have and then the founder's trying to put systems in place and he doesn't really have
he's not a system guy.
I'm not a system guy. So I'm like, why not hire an expert to come in here and make my life a little bit easier so I can do what I'm really good at.
It's so funny how my personal belief is God has given us all like a unique skill set. And I was going to ask about that little bit of difference in creators versus founders. You work with both. A lot of them overlap, but is there a certain archetype or personality trait that pushes someone towards being a founder versus being a creator? Like a lot of guys just want to be creators for the rest of their life. A lot are, I think, like me, and they're like, I really want to have like this full-on business. I was told that it's really hard or it's impossible or all these things, so you should do the creator thing and make money, but that was never aligned with me with what I actually wanted. So I always had friction, so I was never fully doing it. Versus like building out the actual platform and company, I feel better. It's like, this is what I should do. Where do you see your clients naturally gravitate towards?
It's just being brutally honest here. Is like people like to be creators, and and I say that because they can make a video, make $10,000,
and good.
And instead of like delay gratification when you're building a business, like you might not get a client for a couple months. And
I feel like a slob right now because I'm used to like I've had good months, and building an actual platform, you just have to put all of that away and delay gratification. But the idea is, if I do this well, I can make 100,000 jobs for creators. And when I was in college, I would have done anything to have a creator job like that. So it feels like I should make that job available for people.
You make that's a flex right there, bro. I tell people, if you tell someone like, hey, I employ 8 people, you're putting food and like on the table for 8 other people, right?
I personally am probably not going to employ 100,000, but the
still,
platform opportunities will be available.
Exactly, but still in a way, right? That goes a lot more, adds up more value than someone just like creating like, hey, I'm gonna make some UGC reels and like stuff, and that's cool. I think it's awesome. I have so much respect for creators and founders, but there's also here's a big different variable, right? is that creators are going to be stuck to this for almost all their life if they want to just do this, right? As a founder, you're going to eventually be able to put this away and have your own time, man. And that's what I realized, right?
Yeah.
I've actually stopped posting as much as I can because there's other things working for JNS. I'm trying to get my name of Shalen kind of out because I have a full team and I want the full team to do it. And you as a founder will do that as well too, right? And what that does is allows you to get your piece and actually value the things you want to do. Because I've also seen the things of what creators do is that a lot of these brands can make you have to perform at times where you don't want to perform, and you don't want to have to do that in all your life. And I know a lot of people, I can do this all my life, but things will change when you get married, have kids, do all these other things. Like your time is going to be really precious and valuable. So it just kind of really figures out where do you want to put your time in the long run. Are you willing to, do you want instant like gratification right away? Then be a creator. Or are you willing to like put that aside and like go through the ups and downs of being a founder for the long-term vision that you have?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I absolutely love that. And some people, it is the right thing for them to be a creator forever. It's really about that alignment. You know, I think early on in your career, you didn't quite have that perfect alignment. Now you fully have it. Yeah. And you said that, you know, how much do you value your time? As you get older, you'll value it more. You should value your time maximally right now. You should be saying no to things right now. I think too many people have no idea what's costing them energy. For instance, 10 minutes scrolling on your phone. Now you have 1,000 different ideas instead of there being empty space in your brain for your own creativity to come in that you could use for better structuring your business or researching your own thing, whatever it may be. So I think too many people right now don't pay enough attention to saying no to things that are taking energy from them.
I agree.
As is.
Absolutely agree on that, man.
Yeah, it's a huge problem that we've seen a lot of creators have. Ideally, if you're a creator, you can get to a point where you have a social manager, you have a content team, and then potentially you don't have to have the apps and you don't have to be on your phone as much. You even have a business manager or someone managing deals for you. So there is an outcome, but it is a very, very difficult outcome to get to. But if it's what you want, then it's completely natural for you to just progress that direction.
Absolutely.
Well.
But I've also seen a lot of too, is like a lot of things and I love creators, like they're my clients. Like I'm going to be out there on it. But I've seen sometimes when they jump in these calls, you can see them burnt out. You can see them you can see it, but they're like, that's your livelihood and stuff. And that's why it's like, I urge sometimes in a way is like, if you're a creator and you already have this following and stuff like that, then branch out to creating a product and be a founder, but like kind of be like, give up more, like there's different avenues. You can do both in a way, right? As a sense is like, I kind of do voice that out whenever like a well-established creator's like, you should have something as your own. Cause I can see it from your face that you're kind of like getting burnt out from this, like have something where you can, be known for and like step away and not always having to perform.
Where do you draw that line between I'm burnt out, I need to do something different, versus I'm burnt out and I need to just see this through until the grass is greener and I get to a certain point? Like, how do you define that?
If it's truly causing you like havoc every single day when you wake up, when you're just like,
get out of it.
I just need to get out of this. Yeah. Like you're doing yourself more harm, right? And then I'm telling you, we all got seasons, man. Trials and tribulation are inevitable in anything you do in life, right? But it's just willing to be on. It goes back to the honesty stuff. Like, man, this is just one of those part of my seasons that I'm going through that I'm burnt out, but I'll get refreshed in the next couple of weeks when things get back aligned. So it's like having that reality of being honest with yourself and knowing to be like, okay, you know what, like I'm truly burnt out on this. Like this is not the way I want to go.
Mm-hmm. If a creator's making $10K a month, how much should they pay themselves?
Creators paying $10K, how much do they pay themselves? So this goes back to, is that $10K going to be like, how long is that $10K? Is it's going to be just like, hey, I just got for 3 months, I'm going to be getting $10K, then I'm going to dip right away. Then it just becomes like, okay, maybe we don't put yourself as like a full on like $6,000 or $7,000 salary. Maybe we pay yourself like $2,000 through an actual W-2. If that's going to be like the benchmark 10K months, is what's going to happen is like setting up a payroll where you pay yourself a W-2 so you can withhold a little bit of taxes and actually expense that. It would be my recommendation
mm-hmm.
for sure. but just kind of really get the flow of like how consistent it's going to be. If it's just like, because I've seen people that like make 10K months for like the first 2 months and then just dip to like 1,000 or 2,000 and just like continue to like go off and on, right? So it's like come and get a feel of like how many deals you got in the pipeline, what's realistically how much you're going to be able to make, and then being able to define that salary. And at the end of the day, your salary that you set on yourself isn't your main thing, but it just helps you at least pay some taxes to the IRS. But also, like, if you have the proper systems in place where you have your personal bank account and a business bank account, you can always do an owner draw if you need more money.
Sounds good. Yeah. Shalen, thank you so much for being on today. I appreciate it. Where can people find you and work with you if they're a creator?
If you are on IG, my Instagram is Shalen Patel. That's Shalen_Patel. And you can find us at jsas.co. That's our website. If you want to come work with us or just learn more about us, fill out an Airtable and you can set up a call with us.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Good to see you.
You too, man. Appreciate it.